Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. Today, a bit of good news from things that I don't really put any stock in, polls and prediction market. The poll is, well, first of all, why do I not put any stock in these things? It's because you can have disreputable people doing them, organizations doing them. In the case of polls, it's pretty easy to do. In the case of prediction markets, you've got actual money being wagered, but when you have large bank accounts who are interested in influencing people's behavior, that's a way they could do that. So don't put any stock in those things. But when it comes to polls, there are some polls that are reputable, some pollsters, and you all know who I'm talking about. It is the political earthquake that happened yesterday with the Selzer poll for the Des Moines Register. And this is a woman who just really doesn't get it wrong, hardly ever. And you can go look at her history of presidential elections and also midterms. She's just always right. And in this case, it was who was going to carry Iowa, and Kamala Harris has overcome a deficit from back in September when this was last done to now she's actually winning in Iowa. Most people don't think she's going to win Iowa. She's predicted to win by 3 points by this pollster's efforts. And the reason that's significant is, going back just to 2020, everyone thought Iowa would be real tight, but her poll said Trump was going to win, I think it said by 7, and he actually won by 8. And she's not one of these pollsters who looks at her polls and it's maybe indicating something that others aren't. Therefore, she's, not, whether it's not going to issue it or kind of, I don't know how this is my problem with polls, how all of them are all predicting the same thing. And I'm not talking about the bogus made up Trump polls for his organization, but just in general, they're just so tight and they're so the same. And hers are just what they are. She's not afraid to put them out there even when they go against what other people are saying. And she's just always right. So within the margin of error, even if Trump wins Iowa, people expect him to win Iowa. The fact that Harris has made up a 4 or 5 point deficit over what it was 4 years ago bodes very well places like Michigan and the rest of the blue wall. Iowa is not Michigan. It is not Pennsylvania. It is not Wisconsin. But you have some shared values there. You have some shared demographics there. Michigan in particular it's a real head scratcher for me because it seems like it should go heavy Harris, and if I don't know, the polls there are tight. Again, I don't want it to be tight, but this is something polls tend to agree on, is whether it's for Trump or for Harris, it is going to be tight. And someone, a group like the Arab vote, the Muslim vote, I don't see why they could ever vote for Trump. I mean, you ask people like who would they rather have? The guy who comes in on day one in 2017 and issues the Muslim ban for travel to the United States from Muslim countries, except for Saudi Arabia, who gives us a bunch of money. Why would you ever vote for that guy? If you look at his ads that Elon Musk's PAC are running in Pennsylvania to target Jewish voters, the anti-Palestinian ads he's running in Pennsylvania. Now, they're not seeing those in Michigan, but you could go out and find them and see what he really says. Or is he really saying that? Because he's saying the exact opposite to you voters in Michigan about what a Jewish, big Jewish supporter she's going to be. So this just goes to the heart of why no one can vote for Trump. He just lies. He is so wildly inconsistent. Whoever he's talking to right that minute is who he's going to lie to. And you confront him with the lies, and he just he just says, whatever. No, I didn't say that. And yes, you did. So I just don't buy that all of these Arab and Muslim voters in Michigan are going to turn to Trump. Maybe a few of them will. Maybe that'll be enough. I know that's his hope, but I just don't think people are that gullible. They remember what happened 8 years ago when he was elected. That kind of memory, that shared memory, that collective memory for a group doesn't just go away. It's something they talk about. It's something they won't let it die. Especially Palestinian supporters. Let's be real here. When you are an enemy of the Palestinians, and remember, Palestinians are not the same as just Arabs. They're Muslim, and you have the Arab countries supporting the Palestinian cause, but they don't forget slights. They don't forget who did things to them, and I don't see them forgetting what Trump did to them just the very day, practically the day he took office in 2017. He thinks they will. He can visit a bakery or a restaurant or whatever and get some people fawning all over him, but people don't forget, and I don't think that population in Michigan will forget either. So that's something I'm feeling pretty good about. Michigan, you still got to come through. Whether you are a Wolverine fan or not, as a state, you need to come through. Pennsylvania, still a bit of a challenge here. I think if there was any argument for keeping Biden instead of Harris, it would have been in the hopes of carrying Pennsylvania, but at the expense of losing everything else. So I'm glad Harris is at the top of the ticket. It did make Pennsylvania harder, and she's got to have it. Even with Iowa, even if you believe she's going to win Iowa, that's only 6 electoral votes. It's not going to make up for losing these blue wall states. So the prediction market I wanted to talk about, the Polymarket. Again, don't put any stock in it whatsoever. It's completely manipulated by the Trump people. But and one of the reasons I can say that confidently is when you saw Trump shoot up to almost a 70% chance to win up through middle of this week. This is just based on nothing. It started moving up a while ago, and it just kept going up and going up. Prediction markets move based on money being placed, bets being placed, basically. None of that was event driven, and so the thinking of people is, oh, rich people have some insight that we don't have, and it's not that. They don't have any insight. They know, or if they do, it's only through polling conducted by the candidates. And a lot of that polling, most of that polling that you hear about, internal polling, it's not released to the public. It's their own ways of figuring out what they think is going to happen and how they can target their activities, their campaign stops, their advertising. So these people placing the bets on there, I'd never actually looked at Polymarket, and I did before I came on with this video just to see what that, because I know typically sites like that investment sites would have messaging boards. That should tell you all you need to know about whether you should put any stock in prediction markets. The comments there are completely insane, completely crazy. There is no intelligent discourse there. There is no expertise on what's going to happen or not. It's just, I don't know. It's just the worst of the worst, with nothing better to do on a Sunday, I guess, and a Saturday as well. Because what I did see, what I would put stock in is if something is event driven. And what I was interested in specifically, as much as I disparage something like Polymarket, is how would it react to the news yesterday with this Iowa poll? Because something like that, I mean, it just took over everything. It took over the news cycle. It took over video sphere. I'm not on X anymore. I mean, I still have an X, but I haven't looked at it since Musk took over. Not supporting that. But that Trump's still ahead. It was like 54%, I think, to 46% in that. But he was near 70% until like Halloween. And then he started coming down, started trickling down throughout the week like his stock did, which I talked about yesterday. But then it just cratered yesterday all the way down to 54 to 46. I would be shocked to ever see her leading that market between now and Election Day. And I guess that's today, tomorrow, and then Tuesday. But the fact that that Iowa poll cratered his probabilities just like that, like when you see a stock market crash, it was instantaneous. So that's how serious and how influential that poll and that pollster are. So good news there, even for one who doesn't put any stock in polls. I think when you have someone who misses by like 1 point every presidential election or every midterm, for the most part, she's off a point. If it's a Republican by 8, maybe the Republican wins by 7, or a Democrat winning by 3, maybe they won by 2. There was an instance where she got it directionally wrong. It's going back a little while, where it was like a Democrat, I think, and a Republican that were, she called it by 3 points for one, but the other one won by a point. I don't know. But the point is, she is always within her margin of error. And if she's even close to that, if Trump is, even if he wins by 1 point instead of 7 or 8, that's huge trouble. And where these polling results were, what I think you can put some stock in are some of the demographic groups in her polls. So the older women were big in this, and these are people who are not necessarily needing these rights and these protections for themselves anymore, but these are probably women who fought for those rights and those protections at one time, and they see them being taken away, and they know what it was like before, and they felt like, in the 70s, that was a big time for women's rights. And my mom is so proud of being the first accountant at her organization when we lived up in Rochester, New York, back in the 70s. And then moving down here to Texas in the late 70s, she had to fight these battles all over again. And something right now, to this day, she remembers and she talks about. She's not voting for Kamala Harris, but those are the kinds of things that, again, with the collective memory of people, this is the kind of thing that even if they don't talk about it every day, they will never forget. And when you are reminding them every single day of what they had to go through to get and fight for what they got, and now you're just taking it away, I am telling you, people don't forget. The right to fly to the United States, the day Trump took office, for entire countries just because they were Muslim countries, people do not forget that. I certainly hope they don't, and I know they don't. So just more and more reason why I'm feeling so good about this, and feeling much better about that than I am about the Cowboys against the Falcons today. I think we're going to get run through again, but that's another discussion for another day. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, and this is exciting. Go vote. This is all it is now at this point. It is just waiting for the day and having your vote count and watching the results Tuesday night into Wednesday. And that's it for now. We'll talk later.